All right, and now to our discussion of the day. We are talking about donkey skin trade, and with me is Annie Lewa from African Union, Inter-African Bureau of Animal Resources. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, so first of all, AUIBAR, what is it all about before we start even the conversation?
Okay, Kevin, African Union in the African Bureau for Animal Resources is a technical office of the African Union Commission that has a technical mandate to coordinate development and utilization of all animal resources in Africa. So we have that mandate to convene stakeholders in the animal resources sectors to decide on our way forward regarding any aspect of animal health resources. Yes.
And now let's get into the conversation. Donkey skin trade. Over the past few years, and even reports from Caldro have shown that the number of donkeys is very much alarming. It's dwindling year by year by year. And this is with regards to donkeys being slaughtered and the skins being sold even to other different countries. So what is, first of all, why is this even a problem at this time? Over the years, and the numbers continue increasing.
Okay, before we get to the donkey population or the numbers, allow me, Kevin, to talk about the donkey welfare. The donkey does a lot for us. It is the only means of transport in rural communities. It is the only source of income, the only source of livelihood to some families. And, you know, it contributes significantly, to the GPD of any country. But its welfare has not been looked into seriously. It has not been embraced in Africa. And this is the reason why we are talking of donkey exploitation. The farmer is exploiting the donkey. The policies, any national policies and the strategies have not integrated donkey issues. And that's why now we have this, what you are calling an unregulated trade of the donkeys. And that's why the population is going very low, Kevin. Because it's not regulation. We don't even know the exact numbers of donkeys we have in the continent, leave alone in Kenya. And, you know, as a doctor, veterinary doctor, Kevin, allow me to highlight that donkey is a very poor breeder. Apart from the irregularity in the trade, the donkey takes long to breed. It's not like the cow, where you say we must have a calf every year. A female donkey, even if you give it the whole day to breed, it will take 2 to 3 years to give birth. So that is compromised further by the illegal trade. Yes.
All right. And now, looking at the skin, why is it important, actually? Because this has been an issue even to our neighboring countries, where you find that some donkeys are reported stolen, and then they're no longer there to be found. But now there is this skin trade that is happening with even the neighboring countries. What is important in the skin?
Kevin, this trade started in 2014 in Africa, the donkey skin. Let me clarify that this is a myth or a false belief that the skin is medicinal traditionally. And that myth is propagated in China. So there's a lot of trade of donkey skin and a lot of outflow from Africa to China of the donkey skin. And that's why you realize that because of that myth and that false belief, people are actually stealing their neighbors' their neighbors' donkeys to just extract the skin and export to China. And where the countries don't have enough, there's not the cross-border smuggling of the donkey skin. So this compromising the already small populations that we have of donkeys in Africa. Yes.
And now, when this usually happens, and you find that people who are depending on these donkeys now, their livelihoods have changed. Now, you as an organization, how do you come in?
Like I said earlier, we have a continental mandate to convene on technical matters related to animal resources. So what we have done now, because of the outcry from African countries about the current situation of the smuggling of our livelihoods, we have organized a workshop in Dar es Salaam. We are calling it the PANDICO, the Pan-African Donkey Conference, where we are going to bring all stakeholders. By stakeholders, I'm talking of a cross spectrum, from the ministers responsible for animal resources, from organizations that promote the welfare of animals, from us that have the technical mandate, from the farmer who owns the donkeys. We want to bring our lessons learned and best practices. We want to discuss, put the issue of donkey trade, which is illegal and unregulated, on the table. And we want to come up with a common position. What I mean a common position is a position that we say, are we going ahead with the trade? So are we going to regulate it? Are we going to legalize it? If that's a common position for the Africans, then may it be. But what policies do we put in place and the strategies to make sure it is doing a humane way and in a regulated way? If we say we are going to stop it as Africans, then we stop it. But what legal frameworks, what policy frameworks do we put in place to ensure we have stopped it? The problem, Kevin, at the moment is that some countries have stopped, have banned the trade, and others have allowed it to continue. And that's why we have, in countries where we have not allowed the trade, people are still now our donkeys, and now this cross-border smuggling of donkeys.
Yes.
So something needs to be done. So in realization of that we need to regularize things. We need to put policy frameworks in place, whether we continue or not. And let me make it clear to us, our viewers, Kevin, that African Union doesn't prescribe common positions. We are only going to give a forum where people come together and then decide on what fits them as a continent. We are going to build their capacities. We are going to give them information. We are going to give them data, so that as they make whatever decision, whether to continue with the trade or not, it is fully informed. Then decision is supported with evidence. Yes.
And now, I believe Kenya, we have banned the trade of the donkey hides and or even the skins. But now, how is it sustainable now going forward? What are some of the regulations that need to be put in place? Because we've banned it, but you see it's still being done. So what are some of the regulations that can be tightened in order for this even to help protect the donkey population?
That's one thing we are going to handle during the PANDICO, because, Kevin, you realize that there are policies and regulations that protect all the other livestock, but we don't have anything in place to protect the donkey. So depending on the decision, whatever decision we are going to make, whether people are going to continue with the trade or ban it, we need to mainstream policies for donkeys in national policies and strategies all over the continent, yes. Whichever way we need policies to protect this animal.
Yes. And now, looking at Kenya and even other African countries, and when it comes to donkey welfare and even the donkey skin trade, what are some of the other countries in Africa doing maybe that we can emulate even as a country?
Okay, Kevin, if you mean animal welfare?
Yes, animal welfare.
Animal welfare, as the sensitization is really to a very high level.
Yes.
Very high level. Because I remember from 1991, we had the Donkey Sanctuary in Kenya, still talking about animal welfare. We had the Donkey Trust all over Africa talking about the animal welfare. The sensitization is there, Kevin. What we need is just put the right policies, legislations, and the strategies in place to have now whatever policies we are going to agree on reinforced. You see, now you cannot reinforce an animal welfare aspects unless there's a policy in place. The only thing we need is the policy in place. Yes.
And you had mentioned about China. Our market now for the donkey skin trade is China. Why do they really focus on getting skin from our area? Don't they have donkeys in their region, or what's the main? Why is it really important to get it from here?
What I believe, the reason they are sourcing donkeys from Africa, they may not have enough of them for whatever medicine they are making. And I'm telling you, it is not scientifically proven that the skin is of any medicinal value. So it is still a myth until it is proven scientifically. And that's why this rush to export this donkey skin. And the research indicates that we are not getting value for our money. We are not getting value for our skin. So still we need regulation. If that is the way the African voice will go, if they'll say we are going ahead, then we need a lot of things to be put in place. If they decide we are going to ban, then we're also going to have policies put in place in relation to that.
And do you think other countries in Africa, even as we are now trying to wind up the conversation, do you think other African countries can just emulate and or should imitate the approach of the Tanzanian government to just ban all the abattoirs and say we are not going to have them?
Kevin, as I indicated earlier, the African Union position is that we don't prescribe common positions, we don't prescribe policies. If, depending on the evidence that will be tabled on the 1st and the 2nd of December, that's next week, during the Pantico, given that evidence, if they decide we are going to enumerate Tanzania, Burkina Faso, Niger, Zimbabwe, Kenya, and other countries that have banned the trade, then we are going to encourage that. But we are giving the countries time, because this trade is going on in 17 African countries. So all of them need to share their experiences before they banned the trade and after they banned the trade. And whatever decision, common position they are going to come up with will be their common position. We are just giving them a platform to decide on the best way forward to the benefit of the African citizens. But it will be informed by the information that will be shared during the platform. Yes.
All right. Now, your final sentiments, even as we conclude this conversation and even going forward, what are you looking at when it comes to the donkey numbers? Are we seeing something like this? Maybe 2 years coming, we'll see maybe the numbers have tried to improve, or what is your projection?
Kevin, production is influenced by the way we treat our animals. You treat your animals well, you give them feed, you give them shelter, you give them water, you know the 5 requirements, then you have production going high. But we have not given the doggies that benefit of doubt, that we have not fed it well, we've not looked into its welfare totally in an integrated manner. So we can only speak of increasing the populations when we treat our donkeys well, we feed them, we give access to shelter, we give them access to food and water. And we put the right policies and the legislations to protect their existence. Then we can talk of increasing the populations. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and giving us your expertise. All right. That's it from Business Cafe. We've come to the end of this edition. That is Annie Lewa from African Union Inter-African Bureau of Animal Resources talking about donkey trade. All right. My name is Kelvin Nyakundi. Remember to continue watching KTN News for the latest.